And the thing with Psychedelic Sidekick, the reason I fell in love with it, it was just like the law of attraction and like manifestation. But also like what people miss is doing the work so that the manifestation meets you halfway.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like even now, like up until last year, things were going. Like I started doing the shows. I started kind of making a name for myself regionally. We started putting out a lot more videos, a lot more content. I started building my Spotify. Like things were really rocking. Right before the pandemic, I had my first, decent tour set up across the Midwest, some cool cities I'd never been to before. Never
That was the
performed in.
worst part.
And then it was just like, whew, gone.
Yep.
And I think initially, missing the tour hurt, but initially I didn't feel it until like months later. We were still putting out a few songs and things last year, but it was just like months into it, I was just like, everything was swept out from under me, and it was almost like for the last 2 years, I've literally just set a goal, said like before I ever knew Jason and before I ever knew anything about Saturday in the Park, I remember telling my friend Trip, I was like, dude, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't know who I gotta talk to. Before I ever like put out a real song under Psychedelic Sidekick, I was like, I'm gonna play like Abe Stage. Like I was like, I don't know how, but like it's just gonna happen. Like why not? You know what I mean? And obviously I did the things that allowed it to meet me halfway to get there. But like August, September, October of last year, I'm still making music. I'm still the content creation doesn't stop. But it was just like I had forgotten. I had forgot like how just the fact that the universe will meet you halfway if you do the things. And like for a while, I didn't know how to pivot with Corona happening and like. Everything going virtual.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, last year was going to be my year that was after 5 years of fucking grinding to build this business to like people don't understand every dollar I made when I was making not a lot of money was going back into camera equipment, building everything here.
Right.
Before Honeywave even existed, Honeywave was something I was building for 3 years. Then I built Honeywave and I spent my first year poor. It was just me I probably made $20,000 my first year in business.
Right.
The second year I do better. I'm able to bring Devin on. I'm doing a little bit better. We get some contracts, and then I had all the pieces in place going into 2020. Then I was like, this is I don't have any debt year. This is the year maybe I can buy myself a car year. It was looking hot, and it went. The coronavirus. We started hearing about it late January, February, and then March comes around. Now I went to Texas in the last week of March. Traveling with a client, and then March comes around, and then it instantly goes. Everything's gone, real. Right?
Yeah,
and at first it was 2 weeks, right? Everybody's gonna stay in for 2 weeks, so I stayed in my house for 2 weeks. No, locking the doors, no germs coming inside, all that.
Yeah.
And then it went. No, it's gonna be a little bit longer than 2 weeks. Hopefully by the end of the summer. Hopefully, and then and as the months start going on, then it's okay. The contracts are going away now. The new work's not coming in anymore. Well, now I got to start letting people, I'm laying people off. And it's like this one step after another that just completely, the dominoes fell in like the worst way possible. And I got into a dark place like November, December last year because, it went from being my year to, no, I'm struggling just as bad as I ever have been at that point.
Just like not having any control over it. It was just like, you know what I mean? And obviously everybody faced it. Everybody went through it. But just like, I felt like I let myself down, but like let people down. Like the fact that like I just wasn't, I feel like I really prided myself in the last few, just continually, no matter what happened in my life, just keep going. Like I've too many times spent my very last dollar on food and then something music related and like figured everything else out just cause like it's weird enough. Like it's the only way I'd want to live, like is pursuing the music, doing the music. Like
if you're not doing the bigger picture, then what's the point of this? Everything in between, right?
And just like not knowing how to pivot when that hit really messed with me for a while. But I forgot that you don't have to know how to get to point B. Like you really do not. Just whatever that first step is, you can always figure out the first step. Like no matter how small it might be, no matter how insignificant you think it is, take that first step in the right direction, and then continue to take those small steps. And like you'll realize like things will happen. You'll accidentally meet the right person, or you'll accidentally end up in the right place. And I don't think it's accident. I think if you're ready for these moments and like you're prepared, like it's just an opportunity. You know what I mean?
When you talk about the law of attraction, it's and you say, but you have to do the work. I believe that the law of attraction isn't sitting on your couch, being stoned and saying someday I'm going to be the president.
Yeah, no.
It's talking about the fact that you're going to be the president while you're doing the work to become the president. Because if you keep all your work a secret and your big goals a secret, then nobody's ever going to know them, and you're never going to get that helping hand.
Right. It's never going to work.
But if you announce it to the world, what you're doing as you're doing it, and it takes a fucking lot of courage to do that. It takes bravery to say what you're going to do, because 99% of the time, all of us fail at what our big picture goals. Right.
We fail at more than we're ever going to be successful at.
Exactly. Just by the nature of the beast.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you're announcing it to the world, what you're doing is you're giving yourself that 50% better chance of getting to the final goal, but you still have a 1 in 10 chance of getting there. And it's crazy to do that in front of like a group of people and to announce it publicly, because the loudest section are the people in the stands at the arena, not the person on the field, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. Nobody really understands what it takes to like actually do the thing. But it's like I write everything down. Like I that song that I have with Mark Battles, how like that whole situation I wrote down 9 months before I met him at that show. This is 5-6 months before I even knew that him coming to town would be a possibility. I wrote down what the perfect 2019 would look like as far as music, and I wrote a lot of big goals on there. I think I shared some of those with you. It's not like I probably didn't hit half of those, but one of them were this year I will work with, and I put my 3 favorite artists at the time, and he was one of 3. And months later, a friend comes to me like, hey, we're thinking about booking so-and-so for this event. And I'm just like, please do it. Like I would this is legit one of my favorite artists, like period.
And
like,
at that point it's like, I already knew that was coming. Thank you.
And it is just, it's weird. But it's one of those things where just being a kid from Sioux City with like nothing really going on outside of just stuff here and like regionally, like it's hard to think. Or at the beginning, it was just like I said, I don't know how to get to this person. I have no idea. I'm just putting this down because this is what I want. I'm just putting it out there because it's what I want. And then months later, through other things, it meets me halfway. I have a great show. He like personally pulled me aside after, like, and I didn't want to be weird about it. That's the thing. I didn't want to go up to him and be like, hey man, look at this. I put you on my phone like months ago. Like I really like you. You know what I mean? Like weird about it. He pulled me aside and we just chopped it up and like connected, and like it was super organic. And that's the thing about it, is like it just happened naturally. But it's just like that never, not that it never would have happened, but I just don't think it would have happened had I not written that down and like continually looked at it and continually like, not that I didn't believe it, but it's just like, it's hard to like tell that voice in your head when you say I'm going to do something, and it's like, no, you're not, like to just let that go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it doesn't go anywhere, but you kind of have to ignore it. But yeah, long story short, just like I write everything down, man. I write everything down. I actually listen to what my goals are, my affirmations and everything are for like this year. I listen to it in the morning, and I have like a beat that it plays on, and like that really like sets me off.
Did you get this system from the Kevion Sturdivant?
Yep, from the Drama podcast.
Yeah, you guys have to listen to that. If you haven't listened to it, it is the Kevion Sturdivant, Kevin Sturdivant, episode 65. Damn, a short story long podcast hosted by Chris Paff or Drama. So
yes,
it's one of my all-time top podcasts that I've ever listened to.
And when you sent me that podcast, and I was listening to that, and it was about creating balance in your life and like going after your goals. I was working at the Foundry, like just slaving away, but like in the same time, I was bumping, you know what I mean, Homeboy every day at work, where I'm, like thinking about the little songs and little videos and things I'm doing, and it's just like the power of belief and like manifestation is just like, I could go on about it all day, and I don't want to, but it's just. No,
I believe. In 2015. 2015, I was sitting working overnights in a news station, working midnight to 8 a.m., listening to the Gary Vee show that I just randomly found on Apple Podcasts, listening to the Gary Vee show every night, over during my entire work shift, basically. Right. And I'd have my actual work computer right here, but then I had my personal notebook right here. And my personal notebook was business plan after business plan after ideas after ideas. And, how am I going to eventually work at VaynerMedia? That was my whole goal. Right. And then 2 years later, I'm sitting in Gary Vee's office where they filmed the Ask Gary Vee show, being offered, yeah, you can come here, work. Yeah, you'd be a great asset to our team. And then being at the position where I could look around and go, I don't like New York City at all, so I'm not going to do this. But if I have the juice to do this, then I think I sold myself short on going to work for somebody else. So I came over here and started, Honeywave Media, which, it was all just the power of manifestation. Yeah, manifestation combined with real world hustle and hard work.
Yeah,
But
hard work. It's just the belief